sounds like relationship between philosophy and engineering. Actually, if you have a systematic or structural approach to music, you can see that music is 100% mathematics. Pythagoras was the first person to scientifically demonstrate how fundamental the relationship between music and mathematics is. He laid down the foundations of our current music theory, which is based on mathematical systems. Speaking of education research, my original idea was to compare elementary school music curricula with common elements that could be integrated into a colorful and attractive educational program in schools. But I had to realize that it's not interesting, not at all. And the reason is simple. Elementary school music classes are usually boring. I mean, just look at an average in-class assignment. Listen to this short excerpt from Mozart's Magic Flute and clap the rhythm with your hand. It may be suitable for a lower grader or for younger children, but for higher grader, it's boring. And the reason why it is dull is that it's not a productive activity. It's just a reproduction of a piece written by someone else earlier. And this is the biggest problem of music education, today's widespread music education, as opposed to visual arts education. Because when you are painting a picture, you're using your imagination, you create something out of nothing. On the other hand, most of the time when you're practicing on your instrument, you have to play by the rules. You have to reproduce something. You don't have the possibility to break these rules or to create your own. Furthermore, you have no idea how to create your own rules, your own system, because you don't know the underlying mathematical structure. So what I'm trying to do, or we are trying to do, can you hear me? Okay. So I just needed feedback. So what we are trying to do is to switch the approach in music education from reproductive to productive. And by integrating it into mathematics curricula, we put an emphasis on the significance of creativity in education. Because if you look around today, you can see that arts education is absolutely subordinate to STEM fields. It's just considered less important than science and technology and engineering. Although if you look at latest researches, you find massive evidence proving that the utilization of artistic skills or creativity can significantly improve the efficiency of absorbing scientific knowledge. And it's not only about motivation and happiness, it's much more. You have a different perspective to the material, more connections, more associations, and by having a natural inclination to produce something, to create something, students have the willingness to utilize the theoretical knowledge, not just learning it in order to pass an exam or for get a good grade. I've been working on an educational supplementary resource that enables students to solve mathematical tasks by using their musical creativity. I'm going to show you some prototypes I've already made. Do you see the presentation? Okay. This is Pure Data. It's an open source visual programming language created by Miller Puckett. Pure Data is ideal for educational purposes. It's free and it doesn't require high performance computers at all. The first prototype to be introduced is for practicing addition and subtraction. I'm gonna open Pure Data. Yes, it works. No. So, it's for practicing addition and subtraction. It's made for elementary school 5th graders or 4th graders, depending on the school system. In the first section, there are 4 variables to be defined arbitrarily by the student. The goal is to make this simple equation true by adding numbers. There's no time limit, but I included a click counter that allows only a certain amount of attempts to enter numbers, thus eliminating the possibility of solving the task with random clicking. When the assignment is completed, music starts to play immediately, and students can experiment by using different numbers to create their own unique patterns. Okay, let me show you how it's done. I can I can choose numbers. Let's see, 3 and 4, it's 7 and 5 and 4. Could you hear something? Okay, so the most important thing to note is that the structure of the musical sequence is literally the same as the structure of the mathematical example. If you change the values of variables, musical accents will shift accordingly. So it's a clear implementation of mathematical relations in the real world. Let's say another example. I change it to 4 and 7 or 2 and 3. Yeah, so this is how it's done. There's a second assignment connected to the first one. And the mathematical context is similar, but this time students have to make subtractions. There's a constant value for each example. It's 12 that represents the octave transposition in music. Um, the goal is the same as it was before. Make the equation true or else nothing will happen. Okay, let's say it. I start the sequence. That's 4 and 6. Okay, and 4 and 2. And I choose. Something like that. Okay, can I have time? I forgot to start the timer, and I can introduce another prototype if I have time more. Okay, let me introduce another prototype I've already made. It's for practicing pattern recognition. Okay, it's a bit more complicated than the previous one. A kind of advanced level assignment in which arithmetic operations such as addition and subtraction are embedded into a deciphering task. In order to finish the row, it's necessary to find some kind of logic in it, such as regular increment or decrement or something like that. Okay, I cheated a little bit. To spare time, I wrote down the numbers. Let's say 13 and 9 and 16 and 7 and 14. Just like in the previous example, the sequence played by the computer is absolutely identical to the mathematical row that is completed, which clearly demonstrates a connection between music and mathematics. Okay, I think I've run out of time. Do you have any questions about it? Repeat it, please. I've just switched the screen. So, what is your question? Okay. Okay, now I can hear you properly. Um, in the first example, you can choose numbers between 2 and 15. So you have different options to complete the equation, but you have only a certain number of attempts to enter numbers. So you cannot complete the task with random clicking, just not endless time and possibility to complete it.